Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah lesson is Parsha's Balak. The question of the week is, what is the negative impact of hatred? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha's Balak, we learn about Balak, who was the king of Moab at that time, and he was concerned, he was worried about the Jewish people, God forbid, attacking his country. So Balak goes ahead, and he reaches out to Bilam, who was a prophet, and he asks him to curse the Jewish people so that, and the Torah says clearly, "V'girashtiv min haaretz," will get rid of them from the land so they won't attack us. Before Bilam, who was a prophet, could do anything, so he has to speak to Hashem. Hashem says, "What are you going?" He says, "What do you mean? The Jewish people are going to attack Moab, and I'm here to go ahead." And the word he uses, "V'girashtiv," totally wiped the Jewish people out. So Rashi says, it's interesting. Balak, his message to Bilam was, get rid of the Jewish people from my land. Bilam, on the other hand, wanted to get rid of the Jewish people totally. It says, B'girashtiv. It doesn't say only from the land. So Rabbi says, why is that? That Bilam, the prophet, wanted to totally eradicate the Jewish people, and Balak only wanted them to get rid of them from his land. And Rabbi explains, and he shows something very powerful, and he says like this. If you give a look in the Torah, Hashem says clearly, Al Tatzer as Moav, and don't intimidate the Moab, don't wage war against them. So in other words, the Jewish people are commanded from Hashem not to wage war against Moab, not to intimidate them. So therefore, was there a real threat that Balak could have from the Jewish people? No. It says in the Torah we can't start up with them. So the fact is, Balak, what was he so worried about? So the Rebbe says, Balak, he just didn't know that piece of the Torah. How should he know every part in the Torah? So he was worried. Bilam, on the other hand, who was a prophet, knew what it says in the Torah. So when Balak says to him, hey, the Jewish people are going to attack me, he had to do one thing and say, they're not going to attack you. Don't worry about it. The Torah says clearly you can't attack you. So don't be afraid. And the conversation would have been over. There wouldn't have been a whole drama. There wouldn't have had a whole excitement of back and forth and fighting with Hashem. And life would have been good. Why didn't Bilam do that? And Rebbe says something very powerful. And he says like this. Unfortunately, the hatred that Bilam had for the Jewish people was so much that he lost clarity. And he wasn't even being able to say the truth. He always had to say the truth, there's no worry. But because he hated the Jewish people so much, even though there was no real threat, and there couldn't have been a real threat, because Hashem said don't fight with them. But because he hated the Jewish people so much, and even though there was no real threat, he was out to curse and hurt the Jewish people. So here you see, to answer the question, the tremendous negative power of hatred. When someone hates somebody, you lose clarity, you lose foresight of reality, and you can take something which is not even real and create a perceived threat into a real threat, when in reality there is no threat. So let's hope and pray we all get rid of any anger or hatred that we have towards anyone and anything. So we'll have real clarity, and with clarity comes the greatest blessings. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch ben Aryeh, Shlomo Yosef, and Rachel Baslipa. May their souls be elevated by the Torah we're studying in their memory. Thanks so much for joining us. For more information, please see our website, Chabad, swf.org. Have a great and blessed week. Shavua Tov.